Fishing Tales with Blurgii. Come, come, take a seat. Let me tell you a tale. Once upon a time, in ye olden days of old, when I was but a wee little lad, my travels took me to a land called Winter Spring by the natives and Winter Spring by the non-natives. It was a glorious sight. The chill air reminded me of my homeland of Coldridge, and I was ready for the adventures that lay ahead of me. Though, I soon learned that this land had a dark curse upon it, and I was the only one who could save it. Because deep in the mountains of Winter Spring lied an evil so terrible that speaking its name drove children away in fear. Yetis. These Yetis were no normal Yetis, but they were the rare silver-horned Yetis only talked about in myths, and a single horn of theirs could grant you limitless power. Now, the Yetis having two of the horns gave them so much power that they couldn't be stopped. Although, one person had an idea. They wanted to harness the power of these great Yetis to build a machine that could stop them. I knew I was the gnome for the job, so I grabbed my satchel, mounted up on my blue Mechanostrider, and I set off on my quest. It was a dangerous quest, yes, and when I came across a Yeti site, I do admit, I was afraid. I've heard so many stories of these Yetis that I wasn't sure what I was getting into. I made my way around some trees, and I saw my first Yeti. This giant white and blue beast, and their horns were as silver as the stories told. I started firing off spells left and right, fireball after frostbolt, slowing and burning them at the same time, a few arcane missiles here and there. It was a long and agonizing battle, but I ended up slaying the Yeti. But when I went up to go grab the horns, there were none to be found. I looked everywhere, but this Yeti's horns were gone. So I had to try again. Went to the next Yeti, but after its defeat the same thing happened. I could not believe it. Yeti after Yeti I killed, but none of them had any horns. Which is weird because I was just looking at the horns like literally 3 seconds ago, like the horns were there and they were gone. After about 40 minutes of me murdering Yetis, I finally came across one horn. Tired, but not beaten, I continued on, nearly making the known Yeti population extinct. Took me another hour, but finally, I found the last Yeti horn. I returned to the town, weary, almost out of mana, but a champion. I gave the 2 pristine horns that I found to the kind townsperson, and they rewarded me with a few silver. "My invention will change the world," they said as they scampered off. I later came to realize that they used the horns to make a little mechanical Yeti, so, I mean, that's nice, I suppose. Like, doesn't really help with the Yeti purpose, but, you know, it's not really saving the world, but it's something. Anyway, the moral of the story is that the drop rate on those horns was maybe 4%, and I was there for hours murdering Yeti after Yeti, and I pledged to go back there when I was max level and kill them all, and I did. I did. But that was my tale. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time for another one of my fishing tales.